We have no action to report from closed session. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as written? I'll move. Claudine second. Rich moved. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Public comments. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak to the board on any matter within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board that is not on the agenda. The board will not be able to take action or make formal comments on such matters at this meeting. And I will point out that we have plenty of time for public comments on a unification issue that we can take up later. But if there are any other comments or public questions? No, we'll close comments. Thank you. We'll move to have our open public hearing on the Local Control Accountability Plan. This is our LCAP. We'll move that at 6:31. Yeah, those were included in our packets. On June 23rd, the board will be taking action to approve their LCAPs. Go ahead and close that open public hearing at 6:32. We'll move to have our open public hearing on the 2015-2016 proposed district budget. We received in our packets and is available in the business office. That's at 6:32. Close it at 6:33. Move on to our open public hearing regarding the use of education protection account funds for 2015-2016, written into the budget as well. That'll open at 6:33. Close that at 6:34. Move on to our open public hearing on certification of the district's ability to meet the costs of the collective bargaining, which is AB 1200 for our management group. Then open the public hearing at 6:34. We do have our AB 1200s for the management groups in our packets. We'll close that at 6:35. Moving on to special report section, which is subject number 1, which is our local control accountability plan. Mr. Iacino and Sue, will assist.
Sue, as you know, has had the opportunity to go down to beautiful Fresno area and watch her niece graduate high school. So she's doing that. She won't be back until next week. So you're going to have to put up and listen to me, I guess, as it comes to some of these items. But the LCAP, you do have the LCAP in front of you. It's well, believe me, this thing is breathing and living and changing by the minute. The biggest change you'll see in the LCAP, and you'll be voting on it on the 23rd, is we've gone from 5 goals down to 3 goals. We condensed a couple of the goals into one, making it a little bit more manageable. So your one goal that talks about student achievement, the main focus is math and English, and we've added an assessment piece to that. The other goal is staff development, and money has been set aside for that. And then the third goal is parent involvement. It's nice to see parents in the audience, so welcome. And I think through this unification process that we've been going through, it's been nice to see a number of people come in from the community, parents in general, and have comments for the board. Is there any questions on the LCAP? If you have any, I have Stephanie out in the audience.
So I mean, we think we have 5 goals and we go to 3 goals. Is that because we just want to do less?
Absolutely not. What we find in the services are just repeats. based on subject matter, where the outcome is actually increased student achievement. That's what both, regardless if it's math or English language arts or history or science.
We're not taking the easy road by going from 5 to 3. We're just making 1, 2, and 3 more difficult than they were to begin with.
As well as making sense.
Sure. Okay.
And thanks to Sue for doing this work.
A lot of
Appreciate
work.
it.
A lot of work. Sue did, actually, before you go to the next one, I go to my next one. Myself, Sandy, Don, Dina, Sue, and Stephanie did the narratives. So they take a lot of time,
So
a
they
lot of
did it
back
every
and forth. We got input from staff, we got input from parents, we got input from students. So it just takes a long time. The interesting piece with this one is the budget piece. So your plan is 63 pages long. It's because that budget column stretches these forms out immensely. Some of them have a lot of figures in there. And then, of course, you're expanding this over a 3-year period of time. So as you look at the expenditures in those areas, some of them are duplicated. So, you know, it's not, sometimes when you add some of this stuff up, we don't have that kind of money. Well, a lot of it's duplicated in other areas. So the template's a little bit cumbersome, but I would like to thank all the people that were involved, and especially Dina, for formatting this wonderful template, because it was not something simple.
Tina, this is available on the website as well, once it's approved.
Once it's approved, that's my third.
So as a message to parents and parent involvement, if you asked yourself, what is the school, what's the board, you know, what are they trying to spend their money on? Why are they spending the money, and what are the goals that are for the school years coming up? The LCAP is that narrative. If you could spend 2 hours talking to Pat, he would tell you all of the things that are in the LCAP already. What are we doing with this resource? What is this money that's been granted to the school? What are they doing with it? How are they putting it to use for the students? That's contained in the LCAP. LCAP is short for Local Control Accountability Plan, meaning we're the local control, and how are we going to be accountable for the money that we're spending on the programs that we're putting together? When you have nothing better to do, grabbing the LCAP and giving it a read is going to make you feel like you're more in tune with the programs that are around and the amount of money that's involved in spending on those programs for the students.
And there are many pages.
There are
Many pages.
Ms. Racing, is this the one that we were at with you?
Yes, that was part of the input.
Okay.
And we generate input in a variety of ways. One of those things that we do here is Dina will send out an email to all parents.
Okay.
And she'll ask for suggestions or comments. We do it through our grade level meetings when we ask parents to come on certain nights. Sometimes we get a handful, sometimes we get a nice group that shows up. And the way we did it this year with our students was we held grade level meetings and actually passed out the goals to the students, telling them that a year ago they helped us create this. And basically the question was, what could we do better? What do we need to change?
My kids like that.
Yeah,
They thought
it's,
that they had an input.
and they have some interesting comments. And I always tell them, because they're young adults, and some of their comments are, can we fire this person? And I tell them, when I talk to this person, they want to know if they can fire you guys. So it's a give and take. I said, we got to get past that mentality and talk about how do we improve. And they actually came up with some interesting concepts. And we're going to hopefully try some of them out and see where it takes us. And what the nice thing is a year from now, it'll be updated again, and you'll see some changes. And that those changes are generated by students, community members, the board, and our teaching and classifying themselves.
Could you explain the budgeted expenditures, how to read that? What is RES? Is that
That's your resource code.
Resource code.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you have resource codes, the function of the code, and then the amount or the object, function object. There's a series of code sections that the state requires us to use. And so put those in there so they're a little bit easier to follow.
Okay, so like in the actions and services, whatever you have listed there, those codes speak to that action?
Correct.
And that's the amount that's
Yeah.
spent.
So one of the things that it helps is if you were to go, let's say, see Sue Millhoff, and you had a question about a specific area, you could actually say, well, you said it was resource code, function code, and object code. She could go right to that section and tell you this is what we've done and why we've done it.
Do you know the questions for Pat on the lookout? Move to section number 2, which is Proposition 39, Energy Efficiency Project.
Prop 39, you're all very much aware of Prop 39. I'll bring you back to a very quick historical update. A number of years ago, we thought about putting in a solar field here, and there was money that was out there with the state, and we had contracted with IES a number of years ago, and they came in and did a retrofit of our lighting, heating, and thermostats, did all of that for us. And in order for us to qualify for the 0% loan from the state on the solar at that time, school districts had to show a cost savings for putting something of that magnitude in. The problem that we ended up having, if you recall, was because of the retrofit, we saved too much money. And so we didn't qualify anymore for the 0% because we saved too much money. So we had to go back through it a number of times, and we finally were able to get a $1.5 or $6 million loan at 1.5% on the solar project. That was put in by a company called IEC. That one is doing very well. And then the state came out with a proposition funding to provide schools with opportunities to become more environmentally friendly, saving money in a variety of areas in the use of energy. We contacted IES and IEC. They know both of those companies did proposals to the district. The district chose to move forward with IES to oversee our plan. They basically, with all the work that we've done in the area of energy and efficiency on the campus, the money that's out there for us through our plan from the state is a little bit over $200,000. We can't come up with enough projects to come up with $200,000 that would be approved by the state. All these projects have to be approved. So what we were finally able to do was get our plan approved by the state. It was just approved a few weeks ago. And they're giving us the opportunity to spend a little bit over $100,000. We'll be replacing 12 of our old HVAC systems. We will be replacing all the HVACs on the hub building. We will be retrofitting new lighting and thermostats in the hub and the transportation area. We'll be putting new AC units over at Clover Valley. And the last one is our bus barn area. We'll get efficient lighting. All of that comes out to about $106,000, $107,000 roughly. So it's been approved. IES is just waiting for your approval. Hopefully the entire project will be completed by the end of the summer. So that'll all be done for next year. And then basically what you have done is we've gone as far as we could go in terms of saving energy, saving money through all these processes and procedures. We did have a conversation with them about the 16-17 school year, should this district approve moving forward on unification. We've also spoken to IES regarding that, and basically they're afraid that if part of the money's they know part of the money's gonna go away once you unify. So getting this done now puts us in a better position where we don't have to touch anything else through the unification process. Our stuff is completely done, signed off, and we just move forward on it. So we feel pretty good. Obviously, anytime you deal with money that's allocated from the state, it's going to come out in disbursements. And the state likes to hang on to your money a little bit longer because they're going to get interest on it. And sometimes our disbursement might be 3 weeks late, and we might have to pay a $20,000, $25,000 bill. We have the cash flow to do that, so we pay that, and within 2 or 3 weeks, you're reimbursed that money from the state, and it's put back in to where you took it out.
Thank you very much. Questions on that?
We're voting on this on the 23rd,
This is your voting on tonight.
tonight.
Thank you. We'll move to information items and reports. Student representative. I believe our student representative is probably on summer vacation.
He's in New York.
He's in New York. But his
Subject
mother's
number
there,
2,
she knows
is
he's in
Mary
New
Ann
York.
here tonight?
No, she just got back.
Melanie, for Booster Club.
Not really much to tell. We had elections last month, all the officers were the same. We had Wild West Days, this is our second time doing it at the Booster Club. We sold out a meat at 2:30, so next time we need to get more meat.
Is that because Rob was cooking it so well?
Yeah. It went really smooth. Last year it was rough, I mean, it was a lot of work, and then this year we had it pushed down fast, so that was good. Other than that,
Thank you.
Can we, now,
We sold 800 dollars worth of wood.
so can we ask what's happening with the lights? I mean, the next step?
Well, we are working with an architect, and Tom Powers is supposed to be getting the information on the poles, but Tom had a rupture appendix about a week ago, so he's not doing much anything. So yeah, we have an architect, Santa Rosa. He did the lights in the stadium at Ukiah. He's doing a project at Lakeville. His stadium's small. Okay. So once we get him on board and get his plan, he gets it to the state. And so he has worked with the state architect's office. So hopefully we get something moving. But we're moving. It's been slow for 7 years. But we did have great parts at the time.
But we're getting closer, is what you're saying.
Well, we have $130,000. That's a pretty nice.
we also have a few people who would like to, we're going to have a presentation for you guys next month at the board meeting. But there is a certain business that is willing to see what else is needed and may pitch in that rest that's needed to get the job done. Because everybody's want to see
The reason, well, we actually talked a little bit about closed session, but concerned that if it stretches on too far, we don't know if we unify who the new board members would be, and the position we're sitting in currently, this board's very supportive of. And we'd like to see it kind of get broken ground and etched in stone, that this is a time frame, this is when it's going to happen, and it can't be stopped now. And so that if unification took place and there was a new board and there were 3 boards running simultaneously, it couldn't be halted or changed direction or something like that. You know, kind of like the solar field when I first came on to talk about it. And it was like, hey, we're going to do this, let's do this. And we did it, and it's turned out to be a winner. And I'm confident the light year will turn out to be a winner also. Just,
we're setting up a presentation to let you guys know where we're at,
Awesome.
what we need to do, what our plans are, and what we need help from you guys.
okay,
So,
that'd be great.
Okay.
You didn't know you were doing that, did you?
oh no, he knows.
I did. Now he knows.
Thank you very much, Melanie and Ron. Angel or Mike, presenting for ULTA?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the meeting we had at the casino. Cody, myself, Ms. Kovac, Ms. Avalone, Ms. Carter, kind of brainstorming and discussing further relationship with Mendocino Junior College and online coursework. And it was really with Steve Hixenbaugh, and just an amazing meeting. I think we came out of it with a lot of good ideas. We can go in a lot of directions. We want to kind of solidify maybe 2 or 3 courses that we can kind of make sure we can do maybe a spring semester. Definitely with mock trial, we've got a law enforcement law type of class that could go in the second semester. You know, mock trial tends to end, late February, and so then we have a chunk of time filling stuff in, and maybe Kevin and I could teach that. He's qualified to do the online coursework, so that's a possibility. A possible 1-unit food safety course that our cafeteria students could take, as well as working in the cafeteria, and that just gives them 1 unit also with just broadening that, that type of experience. If I'm forgetting, obviously we talked about courses that could be done after school, like Spanish class, with our own teachers being prepared to teach that, or instructors coming over. Courses that could be done within the school day, that if there's scheduling conflicts, say a kid can't take econ because he's got to take these other classes, well, now he can take it online. Boom. Not only is he getting the credits to graduate, he's getting possibly 3 to 5 units toward an A. So really positive, a lot of good ideas, and I think we are, especially having the Spanish class 2 years now, we are taking the next step, and we will have at least 1 or 2 classes in spring. And then after that, it could be a lot more. So that was pretty exciting. With social media, Facebook posts this summer, I'm going to focus on our programs that we do have that are unique to our school. Our Upward Bound, the 2 in the county, our ACE Academy, the only 1 in the county, mock trial, possibly 2 or 1 of the county, and really pushing that out to the community, letting them know what we're doing, what's unique about Upper Lake. We're out of school, so that's kind of the focus there. Okay?
But some of the parents, and what Mike's referring to when he talks about our relationship with Mendocino College, is really trying to put ourselves in a position where we're teaching courses that are referred to as concurrent enrollment. So the student is getting high school credit and also college credit. And that they establish a college transfer. And which courses that they take, should they decide to go the 4-year college route. Majority of those courses become transferable, so they don't have to retake them at the college level. They already have them. And it costs them nothing to do that. We currently run our Spanish program that way. We're looking at 3 or 4 more courses for next year, and then hopefully down the road continue to evolve into quite a few of our courses being in that type of situation for the students.
Another thing we decided that we could do was to do the application process online with all freshmen through the introduction to freshman orientation. So that part of it is out of Becky's hands. She doesn't have to spend her time. We have the time in the computer lab. So all the freshmen will be logged in, have an account, and then if they want to apply for the class, that part is done. Which would be a nice chunk.
And we have currently in our master schedule in here twice a day, we have an online section. So Becky Toback, our online teacher, is in here. And should a student want to come in and take a course at Mendocino College online, they'll be in here taking it in case they need her help with any type of course. So it's kind of a unique situation for the kids. We hope more and more of them will take advantage of that. It's very cost effective and helps parents out down the road financially.
May I ask a question? Last year, Zachary had the opportunity to take that, but it interfered with his sports. Didn't matter what day it was, it interfered in what he did. So is there a way to do like a zero period?
We will entertain it, and we can, more students that can get involved with think the more it'll show them that they can complete college courses. They just need the time to do it, and they need the support systems here. So it would just be trying to sit down with Mendocino College saying, this is a time. Part of it comes in with the certification of teachers at the college community level versus the high school level. Being a master's degree in certain things. Some of our teachers have that, some of our teachers don't have that. So there's some things that we have to work out with them through their credentialing process in order for our teachers to meet that, or to even have one of their teachers come here. Keith had asked me earlier about, can an adult come on campus and take a course? The board will dictate that. There's a resolution the board can pass and board policy that allows the campus to be an open campus for adults. A lot of campuses don't like to do that during the school day, but it can be done. You just have to make sure you have all the procedures and policies in place in order for the community college to be allowed to do that with us. So you're either going to be an open campus to it or a non-open campus in which your adults could still come here and take. The one thing we're looking at, we've been looking at it even through the alternative program with Dawn, is our adults that don't have diplomas, we have an adult education program. It's an online program in which they get their high school diploma. We have had, how many graduates, Don?
Since we started, I can't remember 11. I was reporting we just had another one as of the end of the semester. We had another one.
So, we do have some adults taking advantage of that. What we're looking at is the feasibility of having some night courses through Mendocino College here available for anybody that wants to take a particular course. So it's just working out the logistics.
That's what, like Angel only plays soccer, so she did the Spanish class this last year and did fine. But Alex plays 3 sports, so, and he needs it in order for college, so it's kind of,
Yeah, that's the difficulty. It's trying to find it. Even with our own kids during the course of the regular school day, some of them unfortunately have to make a choice on taking a robotics course versus another course because they're offered at the same time. That's the beauty sometimes of some of the online stuff, that we might be able to interject where a student can do that and not give up something else.
So my kids were coming through, we chose being a student athlete, and it was student first, not second. You know how I am about sports, but we took the after school program to say practice or the game will always be there another day. You're going to get an education first. So they're not going to be pro volleyball or basketball players. They're going to go out and be professional people. So that's what we decided.
And we tell our kids and our coaches, sometimes guys, a student may miss a practice because they're in here. And number one, you can't hold that against them. Their school comes first, so they're a starter, and you have an athletic policy that says you miss a practice, you don't start. Well, school comes first, so they can still start. We don't hold that against an athlete because they have to do something here.
I appreciate Grant's suggestions, the 0 period, little things like that are nice to bring in and get that parent input with a student and have discussion about it.
Subject number 6, thank you for the comments. Transportation, alternative education, and cafeteria facilities and maintenance. Mr. Boyd.
Okay, starting with transportation. Last meeting I mentioned how our new driver was doing, our new driver trainer. She's completely done with everything now that she has to do to begin the bilingual training. So she's good to go. Hopefully the trainer from Ukiah can get her done sometime in June. So the plan is to have her ready to go by the beginning of school in the fall. Adam and I are working today on the SWIP, the SWPPP, which is the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan. I think I mentioned that before. So we've got that almost done. We're going to have that to the state by July 1st. It's a completely new process. It's 100% electronic and we'll not receive paper anymore. So we're making sure we get ourselves set up for that. As far as alternative ed goes, obviously we finished up the year, and as Pat brought up adult ed, we did have one more graduate come from adult ed. So good for that person. Cafeteria, our audit has been going up, oh, sorry. Wanda?
Yeah, back on your transportation report, I noticed for the trips in May, there were some where you don't know the number of riders, and there's a question mark. So you have all the amounts and the number of vans and total mileage done, but you don't include how many kids were on the bus.
Which date is this trip?
Your high school district and trips. That's further down.
Boys baseball, it's page 3.
Right there.
Yeah, there's question marks, so I just wondered.
Yeah, I can get those numbers for you.
Well, I mean, it's not very good information, but I just,
Yeah, those reports are generated by Adam and Linda, and the only thing I can guess is a lot of times the coaches don't fill out the forms on the clipboard accurately. We have this problem sometimes with mileage. We have sometimes a problem finding out who drove. So if the paperwork is not filled out, then Linda and Adam don't have the information to put it in there. So
When you take the school van and clipboard in there with the form, you're supposed to fill out, you're supposed to keep it in there.
Well, it seems like that would be important.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
it is.
For audit accounts, right.
yeah, it's very important.
Reason why I asked.
I don't have an answer of why there are question marks, other than I can find out specifically on those dates. I'm going to guess again that the paperwork was not filled out by the coaches.
So Dawn, another bus driver, we're still using the van also?
Yep. Yeah, so what that basically is going to do is, well, Stan's going to end up being full-time maintenance. We won't need him except on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. And we'll be back to having 4 buses.
So we'll have adequate drivers, and we won't have to pull from the capital.
That's the plan, unless someone calls in sick or something else happens. Yeah, right now, basically, we have 3 bus drivers, and we pull from the maintenance or cafeteria. The plan next year is to have 4 full-time drivers, and then the maintenance and the cafeteria drivers would be the subs. Do you want specific numbers for those dates, Wanda?
Pardon?
Do you want specific numbers for those dates?
Well, I think a report should be completed.
I agree, and I will talk to my people about that. But I want to make sure that you want it, did or did not want those numbers. Okay,
As much as that falls on you, Don, I'd also like maybe Sandy to speak to the coaches on
Yes,
that.
yes.
That'd be fantastic, thank you.
Okay, cafeteria, as I was saying, the audit is going on right now. She was here kind of off and on throughout the last 2-3 weeks of the school year, and we're just waiting for her report. And she has not given it to us yet, so we're waiting on that. Maintenance and operations, obviously the guys are full-time in the summer project.
Oh, I just had a question back to cafeteria.
Okay.
When Mel presented to us the process, will she be prepared for this, the process of the bidding? She had talked about not really understanding the whole
The bidding
process. Yeah,
The bids
so
for,
that should be prepared for the beginning.
bids for what?
The food, commodities.
The commodities?
Through Kelsey.
Ordering the food, yeah, or
Purchasing, food purchase.
Yeah, so we're not going to be doing it through Kelsey Bowl.
Yeah.
We'll be basically getting the commodities. It's not, my understanding, and Keith Price, it's not, my understanding it's not an issue of bidding for the commodities. They would be bidding for the services of turning the commodities into something else. Does that make sense? Basically, we get commodities from the federal government. We could get 1,000 pounds of hamburger. We can either store and freeze that hamburger and use it as we see fit, or then you could go find a company that will turn that hamburger meat into spaghetti sauce and taco meat and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, is that what you're speaking to?
Well, yeah, and I understood that we don't have adequate space for large storage area. I just wondered how that was going to be approached.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Well, she stood here.
Yeah.
So she was just learning, she was
Yeah.
also learning.
Right, yeah, I just want to know if she's
She's
become
going
familiar
through
with
training
the
this
process.
summer. Yeah, so she's going through the procedures for that, being new to the cafeteria just this past year. So she's probably been to, I'm going to say 3 or 4 training opportunities, and she'll continue to do those. She put in for a couple this summer, which are specific to those types of things. One of the areas that should you vote, whichever way you vote on unification and whichever way the county votes, this is a particular area that Valerie and I have talked at great length about on some of the things that we can do to bring better services to the students in general. So it's going to be a process. It's going to take time. There'll be a lot of changes over the course of the next 3 or 4 years on what this looks like and how we approach it, who you have working in this facility.
And the mentorship program will still go on as far as students being interested
Yes.
in food service.
I think Mel's familiarity is very similar to, I don't know, similar to going to eat hamburgers at an In-N-Out Burger. I mean, you can, as a regular customer, you just walk up and you order a hamburger, but you didn't even know that this special menu existed where you could get it with no bun, and you could get it with grilled onions or grilled mushrooms and things like that. What is it?
Protein style.
Protein style, no bun. But if you don't know that, you don't ask. And so one of the struggles that she had is that she took over a program that probably wasn't ran responsibly to begin with, but she was placed in the middle of it, wasn't familiar with the process on, what she's having to do in order to make sure that those bids are handled properly, and what the advantages of them are, if you don't even know. So working with her commodities, she works with a company called Ed Jones, and they contract with, say, Tyson Foods to take a pound of that chicken and process it into chicken strips. And now she's getting that pound through that company in the form of a chicken strip, and how to use that and how to ration that throughout the year, and how to use that responsibly. When it comes to 1,000 pounds of chicken breasts, if you have a facility that can handle that, then you bring in that 1,000 pounds of chicken breast. Now you're able to yield more meals, more nutritious meals for your students. But if you don't have the facilities to have tilted skillets and breading and everything like that, and the staff to handle it, then you're at the mercy of the system that produces those things for us, right? And it's the same reason we go to the deli and Safeway rather than the outside aisles when you go to Safeway. She's also working with Cisco Foods. I don't handle them directly now, but through the co-op of the other schools in the county, they say these are the things that we're probably going to use. Cisco goes to the manufacturers, and the manufacturers lower their prices outside of that commodity program. She had to turn in forms to Michelle Malm over at Kelseyville this year in order to put together those usages. She is getting more familiar with the program as part of using it, part of this off-season type of work.
Let me just ask you, I wanted to just piggyback on something that Pat said. Pat and I have already been meeting, so regardless of how the unification goes, we've been talking about how we can support each other in food services. We just went through our audit, and so we're really familiar with each other's needs, and we're working on that together right now, and we'll work throughout the summer on it.
Yeah, the audit.
Including maintenance, we're kind of looking at everything, how we can support, somebody who doesn't know is really good. We had the same situation where somebody came in and took over. It's very hard to figure out where you are in the whole process. And so I think by working together, we can right now, starting, I think, our whole district's feel so.
Thank you, John.
Well, I was going to ask someone about the facilities. Are you planning on having the contact camp come back? I know we did a lot of work.
Yeah, Pat and I, buddy, just met before graduation, and he just got kids home whatever.
Okay, awesome. So you at Hawk.
And we plan hopefully for them to do some painting too, which is not just, we're thinking about the hub.
And during fire season, I mean, they could literally drop their stuff and be gone.
Yeah, no, we know. So whenever they come, it's awesome. So, but this year we're hoping not only that what they normally do is maybe get the hub painted.
Okay. All right, just put it out
Yeah,
there.
no,
I'm a big advocate of those guys. I think bang for the buck.
Nobody's on.
Just talk to Valerie Palm as well. There we go.
Well, yeah, $225 a day for 15 guys.
Or John, will the opportunity for the meals during the summer ever come available?
It will become available again. I think my preference would be to hold off until the unification issue is settled. Part of the problem that we need to address is you can have a summer food program, and we did it for 3 years, and it cost us thousands and thousands out of the general fund. We just weren't getting enough people to come here to offset the cost. So part of the problem that we have is when a large percentage of your kids come here by bus, and you don't have that transportation during the summer food program, kids just aren't going to drive from Lucerne to here or Nice to here for breakfast and lunch. So the uniqueness to it is coming up with a summer program in which you have transportation. It could be an educational program for 3 hours, and feed them while they're here. So now I've done that.
So you're speaking about numbers, not making it financially.
Making it doable.
We need to be able to give away more food to make it cheaper.
Something that some of those parents at the elementary school were talking about, it's like my 7-year-olds were having kind of some issues with math and writing and things like that. And some of us parents were trying to figure out a way, or talking about trying to find a way to maybe have some high school kids do some tutoring during the summer for the kids. That might be an idea. You have lunch or yeah, I'm not sure how to go about it. I just put on my Facebook the other day looking for some tutoring things because it's been having a really hard time, and I don't think an entire summer of not doing it. And he won't listen. He hardly listens about everybody. So I thought maybe, when older high school, yeah. Oh, we fight, but it was just an idea that something that parents actually had about 6 or 7 high school kids say that they were willing to do it. And other parents kind of jumped in and they were like, you should do this. My kids need,
So you benefit facility place to do that.
Yeah, it meets the community service issue for the high school kids. We also have the Upward Bound program. We can have a conversation with them because they're here during the summer. Unfortunately, this year it's a little bit different because they're not here. They're at Mendocino College. So we pick them up by bus, drop them off at Mendocino College, and they're 3 or 4 hours, and we go pick them up and bring them home. But there are some options that even during the course of the school year itself is to provide some of those opportunities for students to do that. We did have a conversation with a handful of our teachers. And one thing we're looking at for next year is this thing called Saturday School. And Saturday School can regenerate money back into your system. Right now, when you mark a kid absent all day, you lose ADA. But they can go to Saturday school and make that ADA up. The problem with Saturday school is if the kid lives in Lucerne and they come by bus, they're not going to come here on Saturday, even if you assign them to them. So what we're thinking about is the feasibility of having a bus run, but kind of incorporating it a little bit differently. So if we put together some summer fun programs, maybe it's an art class with, and we pay the teacher the $25 an hour summer school rate, and we get 30 kids to show up, that's 30 days of ADA you could regenerate on any day they were absent.
Would this just be open to high school kids or for all kids?
If we open it to high school kids, it's going to regenerate ADA for us. If we open it for all kids, we open it for all. To me, I don't care if the kindergarten kids in here. I'm not going to generate ADA for Valerie School.
Well, I know everybody from my 18-year-olds
But if the little
to my
kindergarten kid
7-year-old.
comes with the high school kid, I can generate the fund on high school kids. So
That strikes me.
Alex might, depending on his
for a unified district, we'd still be able to recoup ADA on a high school kid. I don't know how it runs with elementary ADA. If you can have a Saturday school.
Yeah, you can.
So that's the greatest way to regenerate money into your system when a kid has been absent. The state used to give us money for a kid that was absent when they were sick, doctor's appointment, funeral. They don't do that anymore. The kid, the only time you generate money is if the kid is in the seat. So they allow Saturday school now to make up any absence. So if they do that with elementary kids, and we have a Saturday program here, that would be a wonderful way to do it, because we can do a lot of different things. High school kids could work with little kids. We're generating ADA on all.
Just something that we talked about at the last unification voting, just letting them have older kids to look up to, not being so separated, but just, I thought that was, I
No, I
literally
think-
just was looking for one person to tutor my kid, and it like blew up. All these parents were like, oh, that'd be awesome
The
to,
critical piece would be how these,
2 days a
we
week. or
still have to have a
something.
staff member,
Yeah.
2 or 3. So
Yeah.
it's just figuring out how to do it, the best way to do it, what makes sense. And the other piece to it is picking the kids up and bringing them back.
And part of this is a funding issue. Is when we log, when the funding, you used to run summer school, we used to have a lot of those, the funding, we lost that after out of school time money. That was when, we saw it in these schools. Some schools are using Title I money. If you have enough, schools our size, we end up using Title I money during the school year because of the high needs. But
And our summer
now that
school-
monies are starting to come back, it's something that we definitely need to.
We have an opportunity to look at,
Yeah.
because of the additional one-time funding that came back into the schools under the governor's revision, we can do some things, for at least a year.
Pat, you said that not have the staff, can some teachers, people who do substitute teachers, can they do these Saturdays classes?
That's what we pay. So the sub, yeah, but what would you say for 25 an hour?
We would
The
still
sub
do
rate.
25 an hour for summer school.
That's better.
For an offset of $100 per person that day.
It'd be more than 4 hours.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and wrap up this conversation. Anyone else in comments in pertaining to Don's reports? Thank you, Don. Sandy, Administration and Athletic Director's report.
Wait a minute. Summer school has started and I have no suspensions as of yet.
What day did it start?
It started on Monday. I think there are about 22 students still, perhaps a couple of them don't know that they're enrolled in summer school because they don't have a valid home phone number or email address. But they are still signed up overall. I've already had some students working on it and getting back to me about that. And I've had some students not yet signed in. End of the year, this came and went, as you all know. Shouldn't be, and fairly quietly, didn't have any end of the year fights or anything like that. Hopefully next year will be even better as far as the number of suspensions and expulsions, etc. Students continue to get used to the different climate, if you will. The sports ended sort of quietly. We had some students go to the North Coast section, but not to the League of Champions. I don't know if you saw that on the billboard up here. And then girls softball went to Ferndale for the first playoff game, and they did really well for about 5 innings, and then our team couldn't figure out their pitcher, and their team figured out their pitcher, and so after 5 innings, it was 3-0 down, and after 6, it was 13-0. And they called it good. But it was a very positive year for I think all the spring sports. The boys came out for baseball with a brand new coach, DJ Crandall, and probably won more games than they thought that they ever would. Got rid of a couple of naysayers that were on the team early on, and just went with what they had. They did really well. Look forward to next year. The girls, they're going to miss their seniors next year, but the freshmen, the pitchers, the freshmen, most of the kids that did really well on track were juniors, 2 senior girls, 3 and 1 senior boy. So looking forward to next year. Over the summer, we should have several opportunities for the students to get their physicals for next year's sports, and I'll be sending those out to our all-call system to let all the families know, which is as long as they have a working telephone.
Because we don't have a van anymore, do we?
Pardon?
They don't have.
They do not have a van. However, Louis or the hub, I talked to her about getting started. She said, oh no, I've already got it going. So I guess she has Dr. Schwartz and Dr. Stanley. Dr. Stanley is from Lakeport. He's also a cross-country coach over there. Dr. Schwartz, he's a sports doctor as well as a general practitioner, and he can come over and help me did last year and set up dates over the summer for them to do that.
We did pass those flyers out to the elementary district. And we did an all-call here, letting parents, athletes, and all this time to do that.
What if we get men also?
Yes, they're running around on the football field trying to figure out what it is each man
Thank you, Sina. Any comments from Sina? Rebecca is out today. I believe today was her last day. Pat's day.
Or the school, no, just we, it's the last thing.
Thank you. Sue Melhout, in abstentiam. How did I
She
say that?
is, in replace of Sue, she gave me something to read. She didn't trust me. I think I'm kidding.
No, we know she's serious.
So basically, in regards to the information on the 15-16 proposed budget, the proposed budget for the high school district reflects the economic upswing in the state of California. California is shown in the governor's May revision. Funding to close the gap for LCFF funding went up to 53.08%, an increase of 20.89. We weren't anticipating that increase. We knew it was going to go up. We didn't anticipate a 21% increase. The governor is also proposing a one-time $601 per ADA for the 15-16 year. This funding will offset any mandate claim. Remember mandates? We were owed quite a bit of money. So because of the economy, he was able to look at a $601 per ADA as opposed to a little over $200 per ADA. His proposal is to have that for us, but also that would cross off some of the mandates that are owed to schools across the state. So in the offset of that, the governor recommends this money be used for Common Core expenses. So the additional funds, although they're very welcome, have not been factored into our LCAP and LCF budget at this time. Because the revision came late in May, we didn't have enough time because we graduated and got out of school 8 days after the revision. It didn't give us enough time to meet with all of our students, all of our parents, all of our community members, the board, to look at that additional funding to make changes to the LCAP prior to the board adopting the LCAP. So what we're going to be doing is during the start of the year, prior to the first interim, is we'll be holding stakeholder meetings to address the additional funding as it pertains to the LCAP and where do we feel as a community, students, and staff the best places to spend those additional funds in support of the LCAP and the goals that we've established for the LCAP. Another part of the budget is the new component of the budget process, Senate Bill 858. Senate Bill 858 requires a district that exceeds the state minimum reserve. So our required reserve is 5%. We have an 8% reserve. They don't like that because we're only required to have a 5%. So in Sue's description, you'll see in the minimum reserve percentage, she will show you on the first line, you'll see the 5% at the top. So that is your required reserve. If you go down, halfway down the page, you're going to see an additional 3% reserve for economic uncertainty. That's because of our goal to have an 8%. So we're still maintaining an 8%. We're just going to show them that we have a 5% with an additional 3 put somewhere else because we are certain that somewhere down the road, there will be hard economic times, and we need to be in a position where we can weather the storm and not have to dip into other types of reserves. So that is there. In conclusion, the Upper Lake County High School District proposed 15-16 budget reflects sufficient funding for all proposed expenses and a strong ending balance to bring to the new unified districts, should you choose to go in that direction. Please don't ask me a lot of questions. Those are Sue's notes, and she actually babysat and had a lesson as we went through that. Thank you.
Comments or questions for Sue?
I'm just curious about, about donations. Where do those generate? Is that just something that specific company or individual people?
We have people send us donations from everywhere. And so some of them are specific. We might have a person that actually donates $500 to the ASB and wants to give it to a particular class or a club or organization.
So if they're specified, then they go to
Yeah,
them.
some of them just come in as a donation. And so we maintain an area in the budget that is donations. And they just, for the most part, we don't do a lot with them. We just maintain in that area. Sometimes we'll use them to offset. It might be something that a class is doing and they haven't raised enough money to do something. So we'll take them and help them out.
Thank you. Move to subject 10, Superintendent, Principal, Director of Special Education.
You have your June and July calendars. Not much going on, so that's a good thing. Just a reminder, June 23rd, you have a special board meeting. And that will be to adopt the LCAP, followed by the adoption of the budget. Then as well, on June 24th, we have the county public hearing on unification of the two districts. They will hold their first public hearing in Lucerne at 5 p.m., followed by a public hearing here in this facility at 7 p.m. You're more than welcome to attend. Brock, I don't know if Brock up here. I don't know if you had any comments on the public hearings or.
It's a little too premature. We are planning on scheduling them for the 24th.
Thank you.
Official announcements will go out pending later this evening.
And those public hearings will happen if you pass the resolution. I should probably say that.
And it was 6 o'clock on the 23rd, right? You did say 6.
Is it 6 o'clock on the 23rd?
You'll email us, right, Dana?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
5:30 or 6.
because we won't have a closed session on that one unless we need one afterwards. There is and he's not here tonight, he's in New York,
Or Child.
rough life.
I know.
But Zach Stephen has been your student board member for the past year. He actually served as a junior, so knowing Zach, he'll probably apply again to be a board member. That'll come up later. Just wanted to publicly thank Zachary for spending the time and energy to be a part of a board and to see how things operate. It's been a welcome addition. A very thoughtful, open young man. So I really appreciated some of his candor at board meetings and actually the meetings I had with him prior to the board meeting. And his conversations on what he thinks is in the best interest of students, his processing. So I really enjoyed that
So
opportunity.
just to his parents. Yes, sir.
That's all I got.
Move to correspondence. Do we have any correspondence, Steve?
We did receive a letter from Sutter thanking us for allowing the mobile health unit to be here on certain Tuesdays. They are no longer providing the mobile health unit any longer. I don't know if it was a cost per visit type of issue or things that they were dealing with. So they just want to thank the board and thank the district for allowing them to be
The letter I received from them was stated that the, I call it the band, needed some major work on it, and it was just too expensive for at this point.
Somebody's paying for it. Thank you. Other business, anything to report? No? 12? Thank you. Consent agenda, can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I move we accept the consent agenda.
Thank you, Val.
I'll second.
Thank you, Rich. Call to the vote. Claudine, how do you vote? Wanda?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Move to discussion and action items. Subject number 1, which is Resolution 615-08, which is the disapproval of resolution of the Board of Education of the Upper Lake Union High School District approving the agreement and petition to reorganize the Upper Lake School Districts. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Thanks, Val. At this point, we'll move to discussion. Do we have any comments from the audience? We won't have too much back and forth, but if you would love to make your voice heard, I'd love to hear it. And then we'll call the vote after board member discussion.
This is a unification conversation. Had to put in a word together.
Yeah.
I will, which of course you know that I was going to, but I'm not going to beat the dead horse. I know some of you were at the elementary school one, and we had some people who were very much against it. And we had about 15, 16 parents and teachers. Upper Lake High School was a huge supporter of coming over there and listening to everything. And we actually got all five to agree on it, which to me, I didn't think was going to happen. We're all happy, but I know some of the board members felt like I was attacking them, which wasn't my intention, but we just all feel really strongly that this is what our schools need right now. And I mean, there's so much that can come out of it. The kids being able to go to the middle school and help, coach over there, help, do other things. Eric Boomer talked about the FFA being able, the kids being able to come and help on the farms over there, and just so much more opening and welcoming for the middle schoolers to come over here, so it's not such a shock to them, and maybe have a little more help with the middle school from high school students. We talked about, the fingerprinting for parents, like next year we'll have one in middle school. So I'd like to get, fingerprinted and go help with volleyball, because my daughter is 6th grade, she wants to play volleyball. Then I won't have to be fingerprinted the second time to help with the soccer, which I have a daughter that plays soccer. Alex, he plays every sport there is. But I we really just need this right now. And it's not anything personal, it's not, we just need to do what's best for our schools, for our kids, for our community, and this is just what we need right now. And I know the last meeting I was out of town for work, and I know that there were quite a few parents that came in and voiced their opinion, and I just really hope that you listen to us and take that, into respect, that we're the ones that are dealing with all this with our kids, and I've been hurt personally by how many Upper Lake families that I've known my entire life that are taking their kids and going away for work. It's been really upsetting to me, and hard for me to keep my mouth close to a few of them, but they're frustrated, and if they don't see any changes, if they don't see anything happening, why stay? And this shows, that we're ready to make some changes, and we're ready to take the ball rolling for everybody.
Thank you.
I think, Sarah, that what this is brought forth is parental involvement, and this is something that's been so necessary. Whether you start at K or you go all the way up to 12, that is just key, and that's what I've noticed through these meetings that have been set aside to discuss, the sustainability of education. So I saw young parents, older parents too, coming forth and expressing their frustration, their concerns, their opinions. And this is something that, really needs to happen on a regular basis. And I hope that more and more parents will come forward and actively become involved in the educational process of their students. And I don't really, that's why we're here.
And that's exactly what we were saying at the a taco feed for back to school night or open house, and I mean, it's just packed. I tried to do one at the middle school. 5, 6 parents rolled in. I just bought a bunch of pizzas, and we ended up having to sell whole pizzas. And the parents were like, "Who are you guys? You guys, you know?" And I mean, over there, it's just huge, and you just start to lose parental involvement because kids get attitudes, and they're like, "I don't want to be there," or they don't tell their parents, or you know, this or that. And unless you're involved, that's the only way that you're really gonna know when they get to that age. Which is why my kids are screwed in that area because mom sticks her nose in everything, you know. And I like to be involved, and a lot of it for me is the actual community of me growing up here. You know, I love Upper Lake, but like if we did things like tutoring or things like that, then there's more parents trickling from the elementary school, seeing the involvement into the high school, seeing, you know, things like that. And that is part of the education part of it. We shouldn't all be so separated. We should all be working together for one community.
Thank you.
I would just like to add, I'm a parent who has my hands in a lot of things. And I work with all the schools, outside the schools, PTO, the boosters. If this unification went through and making everybody come together would help us as a community, ourselves out there, where the parents are all doing everything, make it unite all the way through. And so as we're going from kindergarten, parents are coming in from kindergarten, working their way through, then we also have that general help all the way through high school. Not a lot of parents understand what's going on until we spoke about it and brought it to their attention, and then they're like, oh, it makes sense, you know. And that's why I think a lot of people come forward, is that even if we don't know what the what-ifs are, we need to try it. I mean, there's got to be, it could be worse. So.
I think the process, I champion the process that we've had to go through to get to this point because, you know, meetings 5 and 6 were maybe more well-attended than meetings 1 and 2. I'm glad that we didn't stop at 4 because still there would be that misinformation. Still there would be maybe a lack of community buy-in. And so I'm glad that the process has laid out the way that it has so that we can get the snowball rolling as it were. And now it's time to take some action. Any other comments? Board members, any discussion?
I just want to say in item 2, so that the interim board serves from July 1st, 2016 to July 1st, until the election in 2017. Okay. I was thinking, what was going to...
And what we did on
Yeah, I
that
was confused.
is we approached the California Department of Ed. They made us make sure that we spoke specifically with the registered office of voters. We called and spoke to Diane, and she asked us to put that in the resolution because to her it made sense to allow an interim board to have 18 months in preparation and doing the things they need to do, as opposed to 6 months. Then you got 5 new people or 3 new people, and you're starting all over again. So she said as long as it's in the resolution, that both districts have passed that, it gives them the opportunity from their organization and officers to make sure that they put that in place. Then what will happen in 2017 is you'll have a board election, and there'll be 5 open seats. Your top 3 vote getters will have 4-year terms, followed by the other 2 vote getters on another 2 years. We'll remain on an odd year cycle, so which is one reason we asked to do that was to stay on the cycle we were currently on. We still have a board election in November of this year. We have 2 open seats, and the elementary has 2 open seats.
When I ran for this board, one of the things I really pushed was unification. And I have sat, we went through a lot of battles, a lot of conversation. I'm very happy to say I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we have parents that are here, community here, schools, that finally we're at a point where we need to be. Sorry, it took us almost 12 years, but it's going to be really definitely. Yeah, I've been here a long time.
I was saying, it only took you like 3.5 years.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say, after the native ceremony a couple weeks ago, there were about 3 parents that came up when I spoke about the unification training. And they really understood because it was, I was alluding to the elementary and the middle school, that this is, it's all one now, so there'll be more, maybe better retention. So speaking of the native community, and so they came like that.
And
So-
I too have to say, it's been a long road, but a very long road, and we never know how change will come about, but I think this is really long overdue, and if anything comes of it, it's that, we come together and we look at our differences and our, similarities, and we've got to get back to the issue at hand, which is educating our young people. So aside from all these other the processes that we've had to go through to get to this point, we are now, we need to get back to where we need to be, and that's our young people.
But as long as we've been trying to do this forever. The real miracle is we found 2 superintendents of one.
Yes.
Because in the past, we've always had one lieutenant. And then we found 2 boards and one that work with their superintendents, so it works out. It'll do all right.
Ron, this week I heard a phrase that I had not heard before. It was the patience of momentum, or the momentum of patience, rather, about how timing just happens. And if we have patience to let that timing come to its fruition, then things will happen or occur that are meant to happen, or with less frustration, without pushing on our parts. And I see perfect timing. And so I'm glad you brought up the superintendents, because I see perfect timing for superintendents. I see willingness, and I definitely applaud the elementary school board members that are here tonight, and for your efforts and for your discussions as well, because you kickstarted that process, and you were brave enough to do that. So I appreciate that as a board member from over here.
And I just want to add something, just to follow up what you're saying, President, because I appreciate you saying that. I think that the reason why our board, I know the reason why our board voted 5-0 in favor is because their focus really is on the students. And they heard very clearly from the community who, I can't thank parents enough for how involved they've been in the last, especially in the last 2 years. And so, I think you're right about timing, but I think also you've got 2 boards and 2 groups of teachers. Everybody is so focused on these kids right now. And that's the exciting thing, and I know it's going to change upward. We're focused on the next steps.
Thank you very much. And with that, we'll
Let's call for the vote.
call for the vote. Claudine, how do you vote?
Aye.
Wanda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Val?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Those are votes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution passes. Subject number 2. Sorry, we have a lot of business to pertain to, so we appreciate your attendance. If you're going to stick around for the rest of our resolutions and action, you're welcome to do so. Resolution subject number 2, which is 61509, which is the approval or disapproval of year-end closing authorizing Lake County Superintendent of Schools to make any budget adjustments as necessary.
I move.
Thank you, Rich. I'm sorry, who was the second?
Wanda seconded.
Thank you, Wanda. Without discussion, we'll call the vote on that. Claudine?
Aye.
Wanda?
Aye.
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 I also vote aye. Subject number 3, which is our resolution, which is the approval of findings for Prop 39. This is the approval of facility solutions agreement between Upper Lake Union High School District and indoor environmental services for the purpose of construction and installation of energy efficient measures on selected district sites. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve.
Thank you, Don. Is that you, Claudine? Thank you. I love that we were able to find a solution for the challenging thing that when we were presented a couple months ago, we were unwilling or unable to make the expenditure or to justify the expenditure of the results. And so knowing that you have sourced and they have sourced a solution, we appreciate it.
And I appreciate Stan from our UPS when he because it wasn't a simple fix. Roughly $15,000 so to make sure you got that this week.
Claudine, how do you vote? Wanda?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Number 4, which is the approval, disapproval of the Carl D. Perkins Career and Technical Education application for 2015-2016 funding. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Claudine. Second, Wanda. Thank you. That was funny that we were talking about career tech ed, but then you were commenting on the student who graduated in 1970. And he had classes that were like welding and auto shop and things like that. So it's cute that we're giving it a fun name called Career and Tech Ed, but these are programs that have been along in the school for a long time, a lot of years. I mean, it's nice to be calling that class. Yeah. But now it's Career Tech Ed. Makes us feel gooder about it.
But we're thinking English teacher for that one.
Let's go ahead and call the vote. Claudine?
Aye.
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 I also vote aye. Thank you. Subject number 5, which is the approval, disapproval of the proposed use of education protection account funds. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Wanda. Second for Rich. Call the vote. Claudine? Wanda?
Aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye. Number 6, which is the approval, disapproval of the CASI exemptions identified by student identification number. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Claudine? Anything to address on the CASI exemptions?
No, it's just a procedure that the state still requires us to do. It'll be interesting to see what happens next year as the CASI is up before the Senate. It looks like it'll be, I don't want to say for sure, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be no longer in existence for 3 years. So what we do after that, I won't be here. I mean, it's just one of those things. You know, I'm sure smarter ballots will take center stage and they'll revamp what the exit exam looks like. But this past exit exam, just so you know, our sophomores this year outdid themselves by leaps and bounds. We had more kids than we've ever had before, not just pass it, but we're proficient in English and math. We put some incentives out there, real simple incentives like you can take a minimum day of your choice, you can get a grade bump in your course in English and math. So to see 21, 22 out of 50-some students be proficient in English and 16 or 17 of them in math.
Instead of 4%.
Instead of 4%. You know, so I applaud the sophomore class, I applaud Paul Holt, John Fletcher, Angel Hyanga, and Anna Salomon for taking on and really working with the sophomores. Mike gets to spend most of the day with them, has them all for world history mostly, and a good class, very, very conscientious class. We're excited that they did it well.
And those teachers were very excited. So, yeah, great job.
Thank you. Call the vote. Claudine? Wanda?
Aye.
Also vote aye. Subject number 7, which is the approval or disapproval of adopting board policies. These are administrative regulations. This is our second reading and our approvals of these. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve.
Thank you, John.
Second.
Thank you, Wanda. Yeah.
The only one I just wanted to remind and bring your attention to is administrative policy AR 1330. 1330 is the use of school facilities, and there's been a change. A lot of back and forth at the state level. This is the one that if all the permits are in place, a school district, a public school district may allow a function to take place on campus with alcohol, as long as there is no student present. Okay? So it allows districts to make that decision. Doesn't mean it happens. It gives you, the board, authority to say if that happens, it doesn't happen. Okay? So understand that it sits there, but you still have authority to make a decision not allowed or not allowed based on however you vote that you have.
So if a group or an agency or whatever came forth wanting to utilize the school facility with alcohol, that would have to be presented to the board or?
Yes, and say the board would, in order for the board to vote yes, all the appropriate permits must be in place in order for that to happen.
And like we were saying with Danny Page and like trying to start up the new alumni group, having like not having to have it at a casino or, you know, like something like that, having a class reunion or whatnot, that maybe that might be something to look into. That was brought up in the history, so we just thought that might be kind of.
Yeah, it's an interesting change, you know, that gives the board the authority to make that decision one way or another.
I get to a point easier to use of alcohol.
Well, that's what I was thinking. One is like,
And that's an interesting, you know,
Oh.
because you draft the policy down the road of what that may look like now. So you may take a look at that policy, we would get legal consulting from school services saying, look, can you do X, Y, and Z? And they would basically research that code. There's not a lot of ed code out there right now that has anything to do with this because it's never existed before. So it'll be interesting as you guys move.
there aren't very many facilities that have the kinds of features that we do, whether that's an open kitchen or an open dining area or a cafeteria or some IT type thing, bathrooms and things like that. So lights, lights.
Or when we do our fundraisers, we have to pay quite a bit in order to have like the lights of love.
Oh, you're still gonna have to pay.
Every year.
You're okay.
I was excited to hear this part, right? Because this is up like, you want to do a fundraiser? You have liquor. Hey, you're gonna make
The kicker is, the kicker is not having kids there. So, you know.
Well, no.
Yeah, that, you know.
That's most of our fundraisers.
They just use your backyard.
Yeah. As long as you don't make some noise.
Thank you. Call for the vote. Claudine?
Aye.
Aye.
I will say that. Subject number 8, which is the approval, disapproval, and disclosure of collective bargaining agreement, which is our AB 1200 for administration and management, with the attached proposal and salary schedules. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Thank you, Rich and Rob. Discussion? No. Claudine, how do you vote?
Aye.
Wanda?
Aye.
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 I also vote aye. Subject number 9, which is the approval, disapproval of the master agreement for the LCOE provision of programs and services. By the way, I have a motion.
I'll move.
Thank you, Rich.
I'll second.
Thank you, Val. Discussion? Pat?
Stephanie and Tim are here from LCOE. This is a master agreement with the County Office of Education. We do this every year. Didn't know if you had any questions for them. They've been kind enough to come and join us. There's a lot of support we get out of the county office. I know publicly, Tim, am I allowed to thank you and wish you luck. Tim is leading the county office of ed. He is the new assistant superintendent in the Kelseyville School District. We won't hold that against him.
Congratulations.
But congratulations to you, Tim. He's probably dumped all his work on Stephanie now.
But we can still call
But
it.
we've always had great support from Stephanie on the county office of ed. So if you have any questions with either of them, please feel free to
Yeah, on
ask.
the American course is to be determined, does that mean it's a question of whether it's whether or not?
So when I said that to Pat, when I said this to Pat last week, it was still to be determined. We were waiting to see if we had been funded. We just found out, I believe on Monday, that we are funded for AmeriCorps. And so
two 450 hours. I spoke to Rob Young, and one of the things I wanted to do was try to get two for this upcoming year. One of them, a 3-hour-a-day person specific to special ed, because we're going to be running a new program in special ed that gets our students work experience. And Candace is going to need specific support where I'm not pulling an instructional aid out of my special ed support group within the regular ed classrooms. So Rob is keyed into that, and he's going to look for someone to give us support in that area. So I'm glad you got that, and we can look forward to hopefully having two AmeriCorps aides.
I didn't hear, what was the time frame on two hours?
They're AmeriCorps aides are either 450 hours or 900 hours. I prefer to have two 450 because it gives me a little bit of flexibility to have one here in the morning and one here in the afternoon, doing a couple of different things. So this past year we had Kathy Balsiger who did Sandy probably worked more closely with Kathy than I did. She worked in a lot of different areas here on campus, really supporting our students in a variety of ways.
She really helped a lot of the students who had previously failed CASI, especially in the English portion, getting them to the writing level that they need to be to find class.
I'm glad to hear that they'll be one of the working in special ed.
Any other questions of Tim and Steph? Tim, do you have anything to say?
No, we wish Tim the best. We still know how to get hold of you, so you can't run away
Well,
too far away.
I wanted to say thank you to the board. I was going through a bunch of old folders on my computer, and I'm looking at Lake High School, Mr. Folder. I think the first presentation I ever did here was in 2004. And I've been coming to this board for a long time, and you guys have always been very welcoming, and it's always one of my favorite boards to come to. And one of the reasons for that is that you guys always ask great questions, and you're not afraid to ask tough questions. And so I've had a great working relationship with Pat, Sandy, and Don, and Deanna, and everybody at Lake High. It's one of my favorite places to come, and I just want to say thanks to you guys for it's been 11 years, and I'm only going to be across the lake, so you can call me anytime.
And you're more than welcome to come to our meetings.
But I have a few good to work with that.
Stephanie, thank you for your input and help, not only with this, but with LCAP and today with the Rosetta Stone issue and dealing with that. Stephanie has always been tremendous support of this high school.
It's a lot of time and energy.
Puts a lot of time and energy over here, and we appreciate that.
And kudos to the team because that's exactly what it is. There's a great Upper Lake High School team, and anytime a question or a concern comes up, we can always have that conversation back and forth. And I always feel like a part of that team, always willing and able and welcome to come in and help, and always a happy. Even with LCAP templates.
Yeah, just a curiosity question about the special ed. You were at the middle school one where that mom was really concerned with the way that the special ed was going and not having something for her daughter like what we were talking about here. This sounds like it's kind of the same thing. Is that going to be open to is that something that they do for the middle school also?
The middle school has options for AmeriCorps, I believe.
We had one person last year, or this fall.
Depending on,
Yeah.
depending on their need and what they did. See, I did have a conversation with the mom.
Oh, okay.
Told her to come by here anytime and we could discuss whatever. I know her concerns focus specifically around transportation, so I offered Don's services to sit and talk with her to resolve any problems.
Okay.
So I haven't
It was
seen
just
it.
curiosity.
Yeah.
Anything serious. I don't have to specialize in kids, but since a parent came forward, just curiosity.
We'll call a vote. Claudine?
Aye.
Wanda?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Move to our board member discussion. We're going to have a brief discussion on unification. I think probably the thing that, I want to just make sure that we reflect on next, Pat, is what's next?
what's next is after, Brock's already up. No. Basically, what will happen is tonight before you leave, we are going to get your signatures on the resolution, 2 of them. We're going to keep one original, get Brock original. He already has the resolution from the elementary district. He will also receive in the next day or so a resolution that's being passed in the CERN district tonight. Hopefully. I'm sure it is their resolution not to be part of the unification process. Brock will then take these 3 resolutions, have his county public hearing on the 24th. Once that public hearing is done, the resolutions then can be sent to the state along with the waivers. So we have to then put a waiver process together. The waiver process is basically there'll be 3 parts to it. One is that because both districts have agreed to this, we bypass the voters in the area to unify. We bypass the voters in the area. I don't mean bypass in a negative way. We do that because you've allowed these individuals to represent you because you voted for them. They then, by bypassing the board, having to go to the voters, we save some money by doing that. And Brock then has the authority to appoint an interim board. The other part is the start date. So we are asking the state to allow the districts to unify July 1 of 2016. All of that goes to the State Board of Education. It is our hope and desire to have all of this ready and sent to them for the state board meeting in November. The state board only meets every other month. No, you're not allowed to meet every month. So every other month, November, and they basically what will happen at the November meeting is it'll be on their consent agenda, just like your consent agenda. They have hundreds of items on the consent agenda. The only way that they would pull it off the consent agenda, and that night, should somebody show up and have 20 people that are opposed to this unification show up at the state board meeting, they would pull it from the consent agenda and put it as an action item. They would listen to the people, and then they would make a decision on whether or not to allow the districts to have the local control and do what they need to do.
So it's important the community does attend that.
It's important that Valerie and I attend in case there is I don't anticipate anybody being there except Valerie and myself, and should you want to come and see a state board meeting, you're more than welcome. I'm just going just in case somebody shows up that wants to speak to the state board in a negative way, where I can then have an opportunity to speak in a positive manner, and what transpired, what we did, how many meetings, and all what that all meant, and what it means to the community. And then they would go. I don't see it happening. I see it being on the consent agenda. They got a million up on there. They don't think about it. They just move on with business and go through their agenda. Once that happens, we got a lot of work to do. Valerie and I have already started meeting on some of that work. We'll be meeting with myself, her, Dawn, Sandy, Sue, and Becky to really start to say, okay, facilities, budget, transportation, food services, curriculum and instruction, assessment. What is that all going to look like? Staff development, common calendars. There's a lot of stuff ahead of us in a very, very short period of time that has to be put into place. I leave for vacation tomorrow, and I'm taking 3 contracts with me to start looking at the articles of the elementary complex and the articles of the high school teachers association and see how close they mirror each other or what type of work do we start having to do at the foundation to try to resolve something.
That's your vacation already.
It's a very short process from the 24th forward. So basically it falls in Brock's hands to put together the process for this interim board. How is that? I know he's made comment that he'd like to have an application process. You apply, he has a committee, they interview and appoint for. That's how I understand he's going to deal with this process, but it's entirely up to him. He can
not doing it at just 25 people. He has the authority to do that.
And I would encourage my board members, because after this, I won't be there because being an employee, and I'm on the board, but I would really encourage my 4 other board members to apply for a position, because I think you're really strong. I'm really want to see something on that. So please consider.
Okay, thank you. Board member comments? We'll work our way down the table. Claudine?
We're at our comments about unification, or is it board member?
I'm sorry, was there more discussion on the unification?
No, I just wanted to make
Thank you.
sure that you were.
Yes, ma'am, we are finished with the unification discussion. You are free to comment.
I am free to comment, okay.
That could be dangerous.
Still, Tuesday, the 16th of June, we'll have our Upper Lake Community Food Project. And I need some strong muscles, some young men that might want to collect some community service hours. I'm left alone to try to, what would you say, lift and put the things in my garage to get down there. So, and I have to tell you a funny story about this. Last Tuesday, Missy had a group of young people, and so she comes up to my house, and I drive up. I've got 2 driveways, so I'm moaning and groaning and lifting, which I shouldn't be doing, and shoving. And she was sitting up in the front section of my house, and everybody knew I drove up the back way. So I heard these voices. I'm like, what's? And lo and behold, this cue on our arriving time and so forth. But anyway, the project is just growing in numbers. So, and if anybody has vegetable things that they want to share, gladly take those. Only taking men's clothes now. And the senior support services are there and working, trying to especially work on the disaster preparedness plan for the community, so that everybody knows where they need to be. And we will be resuming our programs, which will be an art class and an exercise class, and it will be, we need a computer, when we get that in place, we'll be doing intro to computers. Oh, yes. Task force, we have been meeting regularly once a month, and we have a recommendation that we will be putting on discussion and action July meeting.
We did receive that, so it's on the
Good.
I did want to offer to, I go to all the community council meetings, so if the board ever has something that they wanted to get to the community council on Main Street or any of that stuff, I can post it. They've been looking for a point of somebody to contact, because like when they do stuff on Main Street, they like the kids to do it, and they like to do, like environmental day or things like that. They like to get pictures from art class and things and put it on Main Street. But the people that they're trying to contact, they can't. They're having a hard time, especially with schools being separated, trying to get who to get a hold of for that type of thing. So I usually just text there. Like, second Tuesday of the month, I believe it is.
And just to check, don't tell us that, but Wild West Days went remarkably well. It's
Awesome.
It's an opportunity. And
I made over $900 doing that water slide.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. I just wanted to offer that. If the board ever has things that you guys want to get to the community council, I'd be more than happy to take it.
Thank you. Wanda?
Well, it's been a real busy, but after the high school graduation was real interesting and nice, and I appreciate the new students wearing some of their behavior. And so that I thought that went well. And then we had a native honoring all the graduates, all the native graduates throughout Lake County, all the schools, and instead of 8th grade, high school and college. So there were like 120 natives that graduated in some of these programs. So that was really good. And that was very successful. It's getting bigger and bigger every year. And but there's just something in the air. There's a I just had this feeling of change in here, so it's been really good. And then that was the high school graduation, the honoring ceremony, and then my grandson graduated today, and that was it was really nice to see him graduating from a prep school that's within the Sacramento High School, a charter school. So that was interesting. And my daughter was telling me that she's going to storm the next school board meeting because, I mean, what she has to deal with with uniforms, and so now, I mean, it's really rough when you're a single parent, you know, and two teenage boys, and you got to buy these uniforms. And she says they're raising the prices and they're getting more strict and more. And she says all things uniforms, you know. It's like, you know, but it's good. It's a good thing. I mean, this is Sacramento, so Sacramento High is you know, pretty much a predominant black school, and so it's really it's interesting that she has to deal with uniforms and things. So yeah, I've been really active on this senior support program. That's going good. And this Friday, on the 19th, the clinic is sponsoring its annual youth Olympics. It's another very popular thing for, they go up to, I forget, 12 years or 13 years old or something like that. So anyway, so it's still busy in the community.
Thank you, Madam.
I'm really excited about the new steps, the next steps in education. It's been a journey, and I'm happy to say I was part of it. I'm excited that we're going to continue this. So I'm excited about education. I want to say to Tim and Stephanie, you know, you're always down over here. So anytime you want to come in and visit, all you have to do is come knocking at the door. It gets really hard right now still, Tim. You know, but please, Stephanie, same thing. Thank you for all your hard work. I wish we could tell Zach, Tom from New York, what a great young man he was. He's an awesome young man, very talented. We appreciate everything he said because he wasn't a coach, and that was really nice. Thank you for raising one young man. And the parents, we couldn't do this without you, so thank you so very much for being involved. Let's get more parents in there. Let's continue to get more parents involved. And also to the newspaper. Thank you for your involvement in videotaping and writing articles and putting it online, putting it in the newspaper in a positive way. We appreciate that a lot because it informs people out there and they need to be involved. So thank you very much for that.
Well, I just wanted to add one thing. I appreciate Stephanie coming to our honoring ceremony and Pat as well. So this was good and good with. It's just nice to see that, you know, it does make a difference. Thank you.
Rich?
Made it. All the hard work, it paid off. Right? 3.5 years ago, we started on this, and we both said that night, right? That was fun. Exactly. They asked us questions, we answered them, we walked out there, talked in the parking lot, and said, if we get both get elected, we're going to unify this thing. And here it is, it's been a great 3.5 years. That's all I got for you.
Yeah. Comments also about the graduation. I felt that, to me, it was a more emotional graduation. I thought that there was, I know that the senior class has been a struggle, the class that is exiting us, you know, administratively or scholastically, really. But I thought that there were a lot of absent parents that had passed of teens that were able to graduate despite their struggles in their life. And that always, it just struck me as so strong. I know that we had some young ladies who were mothers at that point going across the stage. I thought was very interesting. I know that there were, you know, it just seemed very emotional, like it was a great accomplishment for some of those people. You know, I appreciate and value that struggle that a lot of those students have. And it was nice to see them still walking side by side with students who maybe high school was a lot easier and things were a lot easier and had parent support and things like that. So it was good. It was very emotional. And definitely kudos to Buddy and the team. The backdrop was awesome. It looked super professional. It didn't look like we threw up some lattice work and threw some fake ivy on it. It was nice. It was great for pictures. So I thought that was great.
That too, after taking pictures, that was great too.
Yeah.
And I think Keith, you're very spot on. It was more emotional, the most emotional graduation I've attended. There were tears from the students, which was just, it really shook me to my core to see this. And you're right. I was not aware that I've lost a parent. So that's courageous of them to see it through. Really.
Melanie, and this is-
I just have a comment from Zachary.
Oh, okay.
He wants me to read.
Wow.
It says, "Thank you all for giving me this opportunity. It's been great to be able to be a part of the school board and given the opportunity to put my input into the decisions for our school. There's so much more I could say, but I'm in New York, so I will definitely see y'all next year."
It's like I got things to do. Yeah. My last comment is to the parents. We've done a lot of work to get to this point, and I say we, our administration teams in the county have done a lot of work to get to this point. We definitely don't want to be the team that worked really hard to get to the playoffs, only to not show up for the playoffs. And so now that we've made things official with the unification, now the actual work starts. I wanted to have Dina bring in all the hard copy of policy that will probably be from here to the floor of papers that need to be changed and things that need to be included and district names that need to be changed. That has to get done by somebody. And so we need to be appreciative of the administration and the management teams that we have that are going to be doing that work. Parents, my message to you is stay involved. Encourage more involvement. If I wanted to be a parent that wanted to have a say-so on a district, now would be the time to do that because unification is a fresh start. If your input may have an impact on a policy, may have an impact on a way that we do something. If that parent support or parent comment isn't there, the fear is it could just be status quo going forward because we don't know anything different. We don't have any ideas or suggestions coming from parents on policies, whether it's special ed, whether it's transportation, things like that. This is a fresh start that we can look at those things. But now's when the work starts. We've gotten the okay to work. Now we actually have to start the thing. We build the plan.
Two things. One, I just want to say that the boosters is actually the ones that went and did all that decorating on the back. This is great. Ordered those balloons last minute. She saw them at that middle school graduation, and I want to get that as a win. Order them, and the boosters paid for all that stuff. They did really good. I was out again, but then I have a question on when you're speaking of like these policies. Who do we go to and how do we go about trying to make changes to some of the policies that are in place right now?
Well, the first thing you would take a look at is you go to ulhs.net. You go onto our website, you can look up our board policies. They run from the 0 series that you see on the screen to the 9,000 series. You're talking probably well over 1,000 policies that boards are mandated under state law to have. You can start with velocity goals and objectives and go all the way down to board bylaws. Your biggest section is going to be your 5,000 series and your 6,000 series. That's students and instruction. There are hundreds and hundreds of policies that are passed by the California School Boards Association and adopted. That's your 5,000 series right there.
Keeps going.
From everything from grades to animals on campus. What the public, and it's no fault of anybody, they just don't get involved in this part of the process.
It's
Well,
like
over
reading, it's like
90% of what we do is mandated by state law. And
I work in HR, so I kind of
yeah, there you
understand.
go.
I understand
You gotta be very
policies,
careful
I understand
about
all that.
So
There are a few
the more that
things,
the more that they can be involved, the more that they can understand why things are the way that they are. Why can't someone just come and use one of our fields? He's not allowed to be. There's a policy that says you have to have insurance, you have to have X, Y, and Z. Because if you get hurt out there, the district is responsible for the person getting hurt, even though we didn't give them the right to be out there.
I guess one of the biggest complaints that I've heard from say that the job gets to go to a teacher regardless, because they get first pick, even if we have somebody who would like to show more interest in that and give the kids a little more than that teacher might, maybe just for more pay or whatnot for the teacher. There's a lot of parents that have issues with that and disagree with it. And so, I mean, that's just one of the policies that we
Yeah,
like.
what happens with that is you start dealing with union contracts. So it's a
And this
little
is
bit.
where I don't know, I don't know the rules and regulations of it, but if you're saying to be involved in kind of,
Well, that's what the public comment is, it starts there. That's one way it starts, or a memo directly to our, or to the board, okay, that's.
But if you have questions about that stuff, this is your time.
yeah, okay.
That's
So
right.
just
Yep.
email you my,
But I think it's.
I don't have a
Actually,
lot,
Dina
I
sees first
swear I
line.
don't. I might sound like I have a lot, but I really am happy with
I'd like to get an email.
yeah.
But I think the use of the public comment is the best way, because that way
No,
you
that's
can
not-
see it firsthand. And hear it and act rather than go straight to the administrative meetings.
So we appreciate Congressman parents. Who knows, like what we're hearing, but we appreciate it, like going through like what we say sometimes, but knowing that there's parent input and finally going, we want to be part of this, that means a lot to us. So we appreciate that.
And while I still have the floor
I'm so
from,
sorry.
and now that he's back in the room, Brock, we support your workload now, your decision-making process, things like that. I know that you have to think about what you want to do as far as selection for the board. I would encourage you to come up with that in a timely manner and what process you're going to use, and either disseminate that to Pat or make an appointment on an upcoming meeting and deliver that to us. That would be fantastic.
Well, do you mind if I make a comment?
Please.
Line of belt.
So the county committee and school district organization has gone ahead and put together a tentative timeline. And the timeline is really focused on the goal of making sure that a board is in place by December, so that they have the maximum amount of time to do all of the work that is required to complete prior to the beginning of next school year, presuming that a decision is made for unification beginning of the 16-17 school year. So if you don't mind me sharing a copy of this timeline with the superintendent, he can then share with each of you. But the pertinent date that is coming up, now that you've taken action, the pertinent date that is coming up is a public hearing, and that is scheduled for June 24th. There is a public hearing at 5 p.m. at Lucerne Elementary School. And the second public hearing at 7 p.m. is scheduled for the high school here. And that would encompass the high school district as well as the elementary district by holding the second public hearing here. The other pertinent date on here that you may want to review when you receive a copy of this is we are anticipating on or about September 15th that we would announce a posting of the new board letters of interest or application or whatever process we may end up using there. Because I guess I'm suspecting that there may be some members of this board that are also interested in continuing to serve on the new board. So we will be moving ahead in a timely manner. We won't be letting any grass grow under our feet. We're not taking full advantage of all of the timelines that are allowed to go through this process. Just for your information and background, we have to have the county committee recommendation to the CDE by September 1st in order to get it on the State Board of Education's agenda in November. So that gives us until August, the end of August, to complete our entire process.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Brock, thank you very much. Pat, do you have any comments?
Just a couple of real brief things. First of all, thank you to the board, to my administrative team, to Pina and Sue for just the amount of work that has gone into this process of unification. I think it's worthwhile, and I really look forward to the next year and working with people to
this happen.
I did want to read to you very briefly. We have two resolutions, one honoring Zachary Stephen, Resolution 6/1506. Zachary Stephen has served on the Upper Lake Union High School District Board of Trustees as a student board member for the 2014-2015 school year with devotion and distinction. And whereas Zachary Stephen has provided an enthusiastic and positive presence on the Board of Trustees and represented the student body in a dedicated and professional manner. And whereas his integrity and dedication have contributed immeasurably to the progress and success of this district. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Upper Lake Union High School District unanimously recognize and commends the service and contributions of Zachary Stephen and wishes him success in all his future endeavors. The foregoing resolution is duly adopted by the Board of Trustees of the Upper Lake Union High School District at the meeting thereof on June 10, 2015 at Upper Lake, California. The second one is honoring Crystal Beavers. Whereas Crystal Beavers has served on the Upper Lake Union High School District Board of Trustees as the alternate student board member for the 14-15 school year with devotion and distinction. And whereas Crystal Beavers has provided an enthusiastic and positive presence on the board and represented the student body in a dedicated and professional manner. And whereas her integrity and dedication have contributed immeasurably to the progress and success of the district. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Upper Lake Union High School District unanimously recognize and commend the service and contributions of Crystal and wishes her success in her future endeavors. Therefore, the foregoing resolution is duly adopted by the Board of Trustees of the Upper Lake Union High School District at the meeting thereof on June 10, 2015 in Upper Lake, California. So we would be passing this around to you tonight so that we can get them signed and to both of those individuals along with the resolution.
Have to go to New York. We can solve this stuff.
Can I have a motion for an adjournment?
I motion.
Thank you, John. Second? Claudine was the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we're going to solve something.
We got to sign, Mr. Simon.